And Bob was very romantic. He was such a romantic and such a sweet, he just believed that everything should be beautiful. So anyway, he wrote songs like that. And then he literally found, he found Frankie Avalon, and I don't know how he did that, what the particulars were. It's all in the archives. And then he said he actually saw Fabian on a stoop in one of wherever the neighborhood was that he lived. I think he was probably about 16. And anyway, he was next to Colonel Parker, the most entrepreneurial manager. He was the one who, if you went with him, everybody knew him. You go to his house and Chubby Checkers was there and Stella Stevens, and it was a Hollywood. They'd be floating in and out, like above Sunset Plaza Drive. That's where he lived. Great house. So I was in an acting class with Charlie Conrad, who had just come from New York in the neighborhood playhouse, and he announced that, I'd been there probably about, I don't know, maybe close to a year or not, but anyway, he announced that BobMarcucci was going to come and view the work. And I just decided I was going to have him sign me. So I waited. I wouldn't do my scene until the very end of class. And I was so emotionally charged, and I was so, and anyway, I just went up there, and it was all for Bob. And he signed me, which was a big deal for me, And then with everybody that he signed, you had to do a recording, you had to sing. Or do something of the, Anyway, I'm so stoned. Here I am, blah, 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 blah. Just if you have to call me back on course, So, but we really, according to Bob, we did the very first music video because somebody wrote a song called The Long Drive Home. And Bob had this concept that since I wasn't a great singer, that I would speak over, and I would do it very dramatic, And then they would videotape me driving down the strip and being sad and going to my apartment, and they videotaped the whole thing. So from his concept, that was the first music video. And there was a famous disc jockey, Johnny Magnus, who was a good friend of all of ours and everything, and I'll never forget, because I think I always really would have loved to, I want to come back in my next lifetime and have a great voice. Man, what could be better than to be able to really sing? So anyway, I'm driving down Sunset Strip, and I've got my little Vokes, and it's the middle of the afternoon, and Johnny Magnus is on the radio, and he says, and now I'd like to play a new song by, and Sharon was like, oh my God, it was like the most exciting thing for me to have that realized. And again, like where everything else went, it just ended up on the wall. But God, the highs and the lows and the joys and all of it that's the whole wealth of life, That's what I think anyway. That's the way I've been living it, obviously, So in other words, the song didn't go anywhere. I think Nancy Sinatra's These Boots Are Made for Walking came along right after, and it was the difference between at the time when Nancy Wilson was getting famous as a jazz singer. Everybody expected it was going to be a huge, huge, huge thing. And then a singer by the name of Barbara Streisand suddenly appeared. And she just blew everybody else out of the water. But Nancy Wilson, man, I got to get some of her stuff.